Now, I don't often get excited when I get a camera sent to me for review. There are more than 50 on my channel, and action cameras are pretty much action cameras. But this is from AKASO. It's the new 4K EIS ultra lightweight vlog camera. Well, let's see, what does it say on the end here? We'll do time lapse, slow motion. It's IP56 water resistant, Wi-Fi app. It's got 124 degrees field of view. Now that's quite a bit narrower than the 170 of pretty much all action cameras. It's got EIS, that's gyro stabilisation, and that does work in 4K 30 frames a second. It does 20 meg pictures. Oh, and I mentioned the water resistant. Right, let's get out of the box, take a look. I am really excited about this because it's so small and light. I think it could be ideal for a number of things like mountain biking, climbing, sailing, paragliding, motorbiking, or radio controlled model aircraft or drones. Come on, I'm excited. Right, well, here we go. Well, there it is, there's the baby. Wow, look at that. Nicely packaged. Oh, I see, it comes out that way. Ah, I see, right. Right, so let's take a look at what you get here. Obviously the camera, which I'll go into in a minute. You've got this little stand here. Now, one thing about this camera, I must say, I've had it for a couple of days now. It is very innovative, very clever, and the results have been really good. But one thing to say first off is it's got a magnetic base. Put it anywhere that's ferrous. So to mount it in this little stand here, incidentally, it works this way too. That's fairly important. I imagined you'd use it that way, but in fact, use it this way. Now, you've got a little stand here that you can rotate and stand it on something if you want to talk to yourself or put it on something and take a scene. I must say, one thing I did find handling it, it's very easy to drop it. You have to be very careful how you handle it because it is so small and light. You've got this little silicone mount here with a loop strap on it, and obviously that's so that you can operate it while it's in the case. You've got a little chest strap thingy here so that you can clip onto a harness or backpack or whatever, and it's a very powerful magnet in this, so you do need to be very careful when you put it together that you don't clonk it together, because it'll go together with some force, and likewise when you pull it apart, be very gentle with it. And you've got another little thing here that's a magnetic base for it. It's got a little loop there so you could hang it around your neck, and it goes together very firmly. So you kind of, oh, actually obviously it's magnet to magnet. Wait a minute, maybe it goes that side. Yeah, that's better. Obviously you've got to be very careful how you put it together, otherwise it will go clonk. And also it's very easy to press the buttons accidentally when you're holding it that way. You kind of need to hold it this way, and I'm still getting used to that, but I have taken a few clips. I'll show you in a bit. And of course you've got the USB-C charging thing and the quick start guide. Now, as far as the quick start guide goes, it took me an evening to get this working because the instructions they give here don't actually work properly. I had real trouble connecting the Wi-Fi app, and I'll show you that in a bit. That's great. I'll show you how to fire it up in a sec. This is only the quick start guide, and for the moment the QR code here for the full manual, which probably is more helpful than this, doesn't actually go anywhere. So let's take a look at the camera. In fact, yeah, we'll take a look and then we'll look at some clips. So, small and light, apparently it does about an hour's recording, 124 degree lens, so that's narrower than most action cameras. The clips I've taken have been really good. It shoots 4K at 30 frames a second, I've mentioned that a couple of times, and it does have EIS, that's gyro stabilisation, at 4K 30, and it was very good. Colour was good, the clips are good, you'll see those in a bit. You've got a little fill light round here, microphone here. You've got a little cover here that covers up a reset hole, USB-C, and the card slot. Now, it doesn't come with the card. I've got 64 gig card in it. I'll show you in a sec. It goes in. Let's get it out here. This is so tiny, so hard to handle. No, I've got it. I've got a 64 gig Samsung Evo, and it needs to be class 10 but V30. U3 V30, otherwise it won't have enough speed necessarily for the 4K. And as I say, it goes in that way, and it's water resistant. Now, to change settings with it, you do need to connect to the app, but it will remember whatever you used it last on, and I've got it on 4K 30 frames a second. Default is not EIS on, it's actually EIS off. So you will need to connect to the app if you want to turn the EIS on, or obviously change settings. I'll come to that in a bit. Anyway, I've given it a charge, put a card in. So now let's have a look at using this little camera. Now, the quick start guide, bear in mind this is a sample, so there will be bugs, which is why they send out samples. Now, the quick start guide is not really very clear about how you actually turn this on, or how you get to actually take video or change settings. So this is how you'd actually do it. Now, there are two switches here, one at either end, one yellow, one blue. You turn on by pressing the top end. Press that button, it vibrates in your fingers here, and it's flashing yellow and flashing blue. Now, if you just want to take a picture and you don't want to connect to the app, you do a short press of the blue, and now it's ready to take video or whatever you did last. Short press gives a vibrate, blue light's flashing. That is actually recording video now, because that's the last mode I was in, and it records at 4K 30 frames a second default, but without the EIS on. You need to go into the app to change settings. Turn it off by pressing that. Now, the quick start guide isn't quite right either about the way you actually connect the app or start video that way, so I'll turn the camera off and I'll start again and show you that from the beginning. So, to connect to the app, turn on by long press at the lens end, that's the yellow button. Press the yellow, it will stop flashing, then press it again, and it is now ready to connect to the Wi-Fi on your mobile phone. NK34201, put the password on the screen, 1234567890. You've only got to do that once. It'll ask in a minute, do I really want to connect? Yes, please. Yes, connect. And now I'll go into the app. As I mentioned, QR code doesn't actually take you anywhere at the moment on the website, but no doubt they'll sort that. But I'll link it. The app is called AKASO Go. Connect device. Now, because I've also got Brave 6 Plus reviewed on my channel, excellent action camera and just as good as cameras twice the price. But I've got to touch that connect device and scroll through till I get to KeyChain. Here we are, and it's showing you here that it should be yellow flashing, which it is. Well, it's not yellow flashing now, it's a yellow solid. Live preview. Oh yeah, that's important. It came up and said it needs to know the location. Same with the Brave 6 Plus, because I keep forgetting. You've got to turn location on before you actually get it to connect. And hopefully if the GPS is connected now, live preview. And what do you know? We have lovely image there, and I can go full screen if I want. Have a lovely image there of my kitchen. Look, I've actually tidied a bit. Lovely colour, very sharp. I mean, this technology, the way they've crammed 4K, EIS, time-lapse, slow motion, everything else into this is absolutely amazing, because it's tiny. So, I'll come out of full screen. I'll try anyway. Let's see. Yeah, out of full screen. So, obviously, you can now start record. Default is record video. You can start and stop record. Makes a little ding noise. It's recording, the lights are flashing on that, it's recording, great. You can stop record. Or you can move the slider, move it to take photo, click taken photo. Now you'll notice there's a little symbol there. It took me a while to find this because I say it's not mentioned in the quick start guide and I couldn't find a manual. But if you go there, you can change settings to burst photo, time lapse, and if you go into, shall we say, burst photo setting, it will actually ask you then how many shots do you want, and amazingly enough it will even do 30 shots. Press setting and it will do burst of 30 pictures. but I'll come back out. I'll just move it back to, okay, well, we'll try it on 7 setting. Burst photo. And it's still flashing. It's obviously taking 7 pictures there. 7 continuous shots, but come back out of that. Take photo, setting, sorted. Likewise, if it's in video mode, and I say it took me a while to find this, if it's in video mode, you can change it from record video to loop recording. So I guess you could use it as a dash cam, time-lapse video or slow motion. Now, for example, if I go into time-lapse setting, it will ask what interval I want, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds, 1 second. So I usually go for 5 seconds, it depends if it's a sunset or something. And now if I fire it up, it will be doing a time-lapse, but I'm going to put it back to my normal record video setting. So that shows you how you change the settings there. Now other settings if you want to change, for instance the important one, image stabilisation, which default, sorry I'm speaking so fast, the default is image stabilisation off, and it's a good idea to have it on, so change that to on. You can change the resolution here. It will do 40k 30, 2.7 60, 2.7 30, 1080 60, which is quite a useful one for action sport and so on. And so on, change the setting. Plus you've got things like auto rotate, auto shut down, which will shut it down when it's not working. Date stamp, you can turn the date stamp off. You can set it there, but you can also go to off. Format the card, which means prepare it for use in the camera. And if you, incidentally, people ask me sometimes on YouTube, how do you clear all the pictures off, or how do you download? Well, you can download by taking the card out, putting it in a card reader, or you can plug in the USB-C into your computer and download that way. If you want to take everything off the card, do format and it will just clear the card and make it like a new card. So basically that changes the settings, shows your remaining battery capacity, and it also says firmware update. Well, it's got the latest firmware. Now come out of that to there. Now the other thing is, like most of these apps, if you go to gallery, you'll see all those burst photos I just took. Look at that. And other stuff where I was testing last night. Because I say it took me an evening to actually figure out how to use it, because I can't get a manual for it. Now once you've got these, you can download to your phone. It does mean if you're out somewhere and you want to check what kind of stuff you've got, you could check it out on here, check out on the screen, and you have got live preview. But you can download to your phone, you can delete and so on. Best thing to do with all these apps is explore it once you know how to the basics of it. But you see you've got delete and download there, so it's pretty straightforward. Press the 3 dots, gives you some information, but I suppose the most important thing is the live preview, which it does nicely. Yeah, I've got to go full screen with it. So I think that covers. Oh, and to turn it off, long press and it vibrates in your hand, so you know it's gone off. I think it's an absolutely great little bit of kit. Water resistant, hang it round your neck, take some decent video with it. Speaking of which, they're coming up soon. And it's tiny. I know people are saying, well, I use my phone, but this gives you far more. It's got 4K at 30 frames a second with gyro stabilisation. I don't know, certainly my phone doesn't have gyro stabilisation on the video, and it certainly doesn't have 4K. So all in all, I think this is absolutely a great little bit of kit. Price wise, I don't think it's not on the market yet, but it's going to be around the £80 mark in the UK, which, considering the functions it's got and the quality of the video, which you're going to see in a minute, I think is good value for money. And it's, I say, a great little bit of kit really. Right, so that's it for now. Let's get into the test clips. Right, so here are the clips, starting off with a couple of little mountain bike clips. First one's at 4K, 30 frames a second, EIS on, noise reduction not on. Second one is 1080 60, EIS on, but noise reduction on. But bear in mind this is rendered at 1080. I shall put the clips up rendered at 4K on a separate clip because it's not practical to actually render this whole 20 minutes at 4K. It ends up like a 20 gig file or something. For anyone that's interested, the bit rate at 4K is around 50 kilobytes per second, which is pretty high actually. But anyway, here they are. First off, this is my little head strap that I made. It's a bit of old ski goggles strap or something, bit of elasticated strap, and another strap that I've picked up somewhere, a bit of my stitching. Oh, of course it goes that way up, lights on the top. Dead easy to use though. I just slipped it on my head, fired up the checked what the view was like, and away you go. And here's the clip. It's at 4K and at 1080-60 with EIS on, and the second time I've got the wind noise reduction on, so you can check out whether it's any good, and so can I. Well, there's a little bit of mountain bike track. Now I don't have the wind noise reduction on. That's something to try for another time. But it is 4K, 30 frames a second. In and out of the sun. Let's see what this looks like. And here's the same thing, a bit of mountain biking but very windy, and I've got the wind noise reduction on, and this is at 1080 60 frames a second, so we can have a little comparison. Bit harder going up the hill. In fact, it's nearly killing me. Better give you an idea of what it's like. And this is using a strap around my forehead. Well, here's a bit of driving footage. Pretty dull day. I know it's not designed as a dash cam, but just as an indication what it looks like on a pretty crappy day. Quite a narrow field of view compared to an action cam. Be better suited in a way to dash cams with a narrow field of view. So that's enough of that. Right, well, there's some nice little cottages along here. They've probably been here for 200 or 300 years. I'll just show you those. And I'm not sure how this is designed. It's described as a vlogging camera. I'm not sure how it's going to like the noise of my noisy old diesel engine in my van, but anyway, it's just a test anyway, a quick test. This is the road that leads down to where I keep my little £100 sailing dinghy. I was hoping the sun would come out because this is a lovely spot really. Wow, it's still full of cars, it shouldn't be. Right, so here's a proper bit of vlogging. One thing to mention about this little camera, it's got a field of view of 145 degrees, which is less than action cameras, which is a 170, which means you do have to hold it steadier. But anyway, here you go. And so let's see what the audio sounds like. And this is 4K with EIS turned on, and this has to be one of the smallest 4K cameras you can get with EIS. I mean, it's tiny, about the size of a fat thumb. Right, that's it. That'll do for this bit. Well, I couldn't resist a bit of video of this. I mean, what a lovely bike. I think it's actually a recent Triumph, looking at the plate. But that is absolutely lovely. Yeah, I fancy that. I wonder how how well it focuses close up. And finally, here's a little cloud time lapse. Well, there you are. Hope you enjoyed the clips. Not many there, but I wanted to give you an exclusive preview of this great little camera from AKASO. Hopefully when the weather improves I'll get out and get some paragliding, paramotoring, sailing, mountain biking, motorbiking clips, and of course I will post those. But all in all, I thought the clips were great. The lens is very sharp, the colours are nice, the EIS, that's the gyro stabilisation, was great at 4K 30 frames a second, but of course it also does 1080, 60 and so on. And I think the slightly narrower field of view is very good too. Yeah, I was very impressed with this. Now okay, you could say, but bit of a shame it's not got a screen, but how many times do you actually take a video and look at the screen? And you soon get used to firing it up without using a screen anyway, just by pressing the right buttons there. I mentioned that it's not easy to hold when you're recording. What I was doing for my clips was I showed you this gadget, which incidentally moves around because it's on a ball and socket thing, so you can bend it any way you want. I mentioned this gadget. Well, I was actually carrying the camera by slipping it in there, magnetic mount, and holding it like so, which kept it nice and steady, as you can see. Easy to hold that way. The other thing to mention is I was thinking, now why didn't they put a tripod mount on this somewhere? Well, in fact, I keep discovering things here because I say I couldn't get a proper manual. There's actually a tripod mount screw in this, so if you're into things like selfies and you've got one of these telescopic sticks, and incidentally I'm not really into selfies, if you've got one of those you can mount it on it and point it at yourself and talk to it if you're vlogging and really walking about and telling everyone what a great day you've got. Or if you've, say, got a gorilla pod, one of these tripod things, you can mount it on that to take a time lapse. And the other thing, as you saw in my mountain bike clip, you can slip this on a strap around your forehead and you could use it when you were walking, cycling, all kinds of things really. It is water resistant, which is probably splash proof really, so you wouldn't dive with it, but pretty useful bit of kit anyway. And another thing to mention, recording time apparently is around 60 minutes, but I did test to see if it would record while it was plugged in and charging. Plugged it into a power pack and it will record longer than 60 minutes if it's plugged into an outside source. That was turning it on via the app. I'm not sure if it would work if you tried it that way. Anyway, in conclusion, I think a lot of thought has gone into the design of this little tiny camera and its accessories, and the results, especially given that it's such a tiny little package, have been amazingly good. 4K at EIS from something this size, I'm quite astounded really. But that's it for now. As I say, more clips will be coming along. If you found it useful, why not check out my channel? Loads of stuff, flying, sailing, paragliding, motoring, wildlife, all kinds of stuff. And maybe even hit subscribe and give me a like. But that's it for now. Stay safe. I'll catch you all again soon. And thanks for watching.